said to me, but efficiency, he says many times. To me, if he looks at that game and says that the reason why they lost the tie over 2 legs and lost the earlier Premier League game is just simply efficiency in the box, I think that might be a small element to it. But I think that he got outmanaged, and I think that he doesn't have a response if he has to play Newcastle again. And he doesn't have a response for teams that will play with the 3 center-back system with 2 wing-backs and hit on the counter. They found success against the Man City side that plays with a high line, that want to do what they want to do. They want to get into your face. They want to press you. But I think you'll always struggle against teams, and Arsenal will always struggle against teams that are organized like that and will defend. And that, you know, Gordon says that they can't physically bully. They can't physically push around. I think he'll always struggle with teams like that. And I don't think he knows I don't think he knows what adjustment to make if they face a team like Newcastle again.
About the game, especially in the first half, why do you think Newcastle was able to keep more control of the game and in the end win?
Because we needed to generate a moment. We clearly had a moment in the first half, and on that one we didn't capitalize. The next action is the long ball. When we concede, they go immediately, and obviously in that moment, momentum shifts, and you need a goal. You need a goal as early as possible, or very early in the second half, and we have managed to do that, and the game slowly started to get away from us.
Yeah, that moment, the Ødegaard hitting the post, is it one of those things in football where you just get severely punished a minute later with Jacob Murphy's goal?
Yeah, but these are the margins. We got very punished as well in the first leg, and they've been very more efficient than us in the boxes. That's clear, and that's been the difference in the tie.
Do you feel you could have dealt with your emotions better throughout this match, especially in those first 20 to 25 minutes?
I think later in the game that obviously you start to get more tired, and you know that you have a big mountain to climb, and to play in these conditions is harder. But yeah, I suffer for the boys.
And do you feel like this was key to not be able to change this tie in the second half? Frustration just piling up?
Well, you have to score 3 or 4 goals, you know, and to do that in that period of time, especially when in that moment we were generating enough situations with enough clarity. It was difficult, and as I said, the game started to get away from us.
The second goal, Newcastle's second goal, do you feel like it's an example of the way you guys were defending? You were a bit unsettled compared to other matches?
Yeah, we were very in 50-50 balls, when clearances, when we have to take touches, we give them another chance as well from one regain in our last line as well. So yeah, that's things to improve, and today in that aspect as well, we're in our best.
How frustrating is it not to reach a final, considering all you've been doing in the past few years? A lot of people would argue that you could have more, you deserve more silverware, that you need more silverware. How frustrating is it?
The margins are so small, and you need to be on the day very efficient. That's the margins that takes you very close to winning trophies, and today we weren't as well.
And now you have a training camp in Dubai. It worked well last season. So looking to the Champions League title race and Premier League title race, what do you expect to take from these days?
And now I was
Welcome along, Charlotte. Welcome along, David. We've got to start with the tune. And Newcastle United getting to Wembley for the second time in 3 years. And Charlotte, in terms of the performance, yes, Arsenal had their frailties, but Newcastle could barely have dealt with the pressure better to seal the deal this evening.
Yeah, what a performance it was from Newcastle. I think going into the game, obviously, they had that advantage, but a lot of the Newcastle fans were nervous, especially when they saw the lineup. Eddie Howe had gone to a 5 at the back. I think they thought they were just going to sit and be really defensive and just play it out for a goalless draw. But their front 3 were so attacking. Alexander Isak, Anthony Gordon, obviously so influential as well. And the 3 of them, the front 3 was unbelievable. Saliba, who's normally unflappable, looked like a totally different player. I think the game plan totally worked. They just seemed to want it a bit more as well. I think their front 3 were ruthless, whereas Arsenal, like you said, they did gift them a goal in terms of Raya for the second, but they also lacked that clinical edge that we've seen Arsenal have. They obviously put 5 past City at the weekend, but they failed at St James's Park to score. And what a night it was. The atmosphere seemed to be absolutely unbelievable at St James's Park. The fans always go up for those occasions, and it's a second League Cup final in 3 years for them. And what a moment for their fans to celebrate. They're trying to get their first domestic trophy since 1955. So it's been a long wait for them, and they'll be confident that whoever they meet, be it Tottenham or Liverpool in the final, that they can go all the way this season.
And as far as you're concerned, David, I mean, you know, did you think the pressure, that atmosphere, that red-hot atmosphere at St James's Park kind of got to Arsenal? Do you feel they were fazed by it? I mean, they were a bit off colour, particularly William Saliba tonight.
I think they blatantly were fazed by it, and they can prepare themselves. They should have prepared themselves, but you can't really legislate for what it's going to feel like when you're on the pitch, and the raucousness coming down from the Gallagher end and all around St James's Park is really unique in world football. But at the same time, Arsenal have been together for a long time under Mikel Arteta. It's 5+ years, and they should be coping better than they did. I thought they were really poor tonight. Now, it's not the biggest shock in the world that they're out. They came into the second leg 2-0 down. I think the biggest surprise is that given their form against Manchester City and Newcastle losing their last 2 home games, you thought it would have been a bit tighter. You thought Arsenal would have got a goal. They should have perhaps got the first goal through Martin Ødegaard after the Isak opener was ruled out for offside, and it was a pretty meek surrender. I thought they were bullied overall. Newcastle were better and stronger. They were superior in the duels, in the tight moments. Arsenal didn't really threaten. The Raya mistake for the second goal kind of summed up Arsenal's evening, and I think they'll want to get off to Dubai urgently tomorrow, lick their wounds, and sort of galvanise to try and go again in the Premier League and the Champions League, because they've still got a lot to play for. But this was really disappointing, because there's no sign of a trophy still for Mikel Arteta since that 2020 FA Cup. It's not some underdog story. Newcastle are a really good team. When they want to, when they hit their stride, they can beat anybody. Isak is the best striker in world football right now, it would seem. That's why Mikel Arteta has him as his top target. Whether he'll be able to get him, I've got no idea. And Newcastle certainly don't want to see him go. They want to see him sign a new contract. Newcastle have invested extremely heavily under Eddie Howe in the players that you saw tonight. That's kind of why they're in PSR trouble, but it means that they've got a really strong team, and they'll hope to end this long wait for a trophy when they go to Wembley yet again.
Yeah, can I just come back to you, David? Because I suppose, despite that win over Manchester City, double reason for Arsenal fans to be a bit annoyed, given the fact that they didn't move late on deadline day. And of course, you know, it's really sort of like hit them like a brick in the face, because, you know, the player they really, really want is the one who helped set up a goal tonight. And he's been just brilliant. He scored a goal that was disallowed for offside as well. What is the latest between Alexander Isak and Arsenal? Or is the point that there isn't really a latest?
There isn't a latest, because Arsenal missed their chance with Isak a couple of years ago when they considered signing him in the January, I think it was, from Real Sociedad. For whatever reason, they didn't go through with the deal. He ended up at Newcastle. And there was scrutiny about that deal at the time, if you remember, because I think it was around 60 million euros. So not the highest fee, but he had been a bit off form. He'd suffered from some injuries, but the way he has developed and flourished is just spectacular. And it probably makes Arsenal rue their missed opportunity. There's no doubt that he is the player that Mikel Arteta has at the top of his list. If he was to sign a striker, he's seen as perfect for Arsenal's system and everything he offers. But Newcastle fans will hate hearing that because they've got him under contract for a few years yet. He's their key player. He's at the centre of what they and their Saudi-led ownership are doing. And they've got no intention of seeing him go anywhere. They want him to sign a new contract. If they don't qualify for the Champions League, maybe there's a consideration, but the price will be phenomenally high. Really, clubs like Arsenal should be looking for the next Alexander Isak, not the one who's on the market if he was to come on the market. And also, we don't even know that Isak would want to join Arsenal. I think it's more realistic that Arsenal need to look for other targets, such as a Benjamin Sesko or whoever else is on the market. And the fact that they didn't sign a striker in the January window is something Arteta has described as disappointing. Now, you can say the options weren't there, but You know, should they have done it last summer? They came into the season thin in that position. Right now, there's not really a striker, recognised striker at Arsenal Football Club in terms of Kai Havertz was signed as a left-sided number 8. Gabriel Jesus is out injured for the rest of the season. The most recent young strikers, Eddie Nketiah and Folarin Balogun, have been sold. Previous to that, Aubameyang and Lacazette have gone. So Arsenal have seemingly neglected that position. That's why it will be top of their agenda for the summer, but that doesn't help them for the rest of the season, and they're going to have to rely on goals from other parts of the pitch, as they did against City on Sunday, and hope to hit their stride as soon as they come back from this short break.
Let's return to Newcastle, Charlotte, and in the back page of the Mail, humbled, of course, there's always an Arsenal angle, I suppose, given, what Erling Haaland said to Mikel Arteta after what happened to the Etihad earlier in the season. And interesting that actually this word is used by Anthony Gordon in the quote here in a piece by Craig Hope, Charlotte. He said, it's important for us to stay humble now. It'll be a big occasion, but we have so many important games coming up. I wonder, what do you think Newcastle, Eddie Howe, what will they have learned from the last time that they were at Wembley? How they prepared for that experience, how it all turned out? Because that was, a loss to Manchester United in this competition 2 seasons ago. And it is another chance to end this very long wait for a trophy.
Yeah, I think now that it's the second time they've been in this situation in 3 years, it's not a novelty. They're starting to prove that this is the level that they should be at. They should be striving to get to cup finals. It shouldn't just be seen as a one-off, and their fans will feel that as well. So this group of players have got better. They can learn from the mistakes from 2 years ago. It's not just a day trip out. They are contenders to win a trophy. So they've got stuff to learn from the other day, but they also know that they've got a lot of league games between now and then, that they can't afford to compromise their form. They've been in absolutely brilliant form for the last couple of months, really. All their players have been stepping up, and they're not far off the Champions League spaces. Obviously, they're level on points with Manchester City in 5th, which at the moment we do expect 5th would get a Champions League spot. That has got to be the aim as well. They can't be sidetracked with the thought of this final. They've got to, as Anthony Gordon says, stay humble, put it to the back of their minds, focus on what they're doing in the league, keep picking up good results. They obviously had a couple of disappointing results at home in the league in their last 2. So to get this convincing win against Arsenal should give them that confidence going forward. They've obviously got an FA Cup this weekend as well. So I think it should be a case of good win for them tonight, but they've got to move on and forget about it quickly. They can't just get wrapped up in the thoughts that, we've made it to a cup final, fantastic. They want to go there and win that, but that's a conversation and a thought for them to have later on in the month rather than right now.
It will be either Liverpool or Tottenham, of course, who Newcastle face at Wembley. Charlotte, can I stay with you? In your paper, The Times, United's Mission 21 title plan. What's your read on how the sort of pieces are moving in the senior management team at Old Trafford? After the departure of Dan Ashworth, it seems like Sir Dave Brailsford is taking a little bit more of a central role here. And this Mission 21 title plan, what's your read on it?
Yeah, so this is a story from my colleague Matt, and in it he details how Dave Brailsford, who obviously has spent a lot of his career in cycling and involved in a lot of success at British Cycling and Team Sky, and the improvements that they're trying to make at Manchester United behind the scenes, so that they can get this 21st title. In it, the aim is to get it in the year that they celebrate their 150th anniversary, which is 2028, which, given the state of this team and the squad where they are at the moment, I think is beyond ambitious. I think most people would say. I think there's 6 transfer windows between now and then if they want to achieve their aim. And we all know Manchester United are working with a very tight budget.